Hi friends, in this video we will learn when we are going to use oblong method for constructing an ellipse. So before moving into it, construction procedure I will explain in the next video, and here the when we are going to apply the oblong method we will learn in this video. Let us consider it is an ellipse. The various elements of the ellipse you are already aware of it. What all are they? So these two are directrix. These two are directrix. First one and this one. These two are considered as directrix. And the fixed points here is going to be these two, F1 and F2. F1 and F2 are the fixed points. Now the line which is perpendicular to the directrix and passing through the fixed point is considered as principal axis. Now here the midpoint of either both the directrix or vertices, these two are the vertices V1 and V2, vertices are focal points, is considered as center of the curve, center of a curve. Now here we are already aware of it. The line which will passing through the 2 points on the curve is considered as the chord. Is considered, this line is a chord, this is another chord, and this particular chord is called focal chord. So these are the different chords. And one more thing, the chord which is perpendicular to the axis is considered as the double ordinate. So all these terminology we learned in the previous figures. Now here in oblong method when we can able to use, so to know that we should be aware of few more elements. What it is? The chord which is passing through the center, is termed as an axis. This is a axis. Be careful, there are different axes are there. Here I shown it as a principal axis, but the chord, because this principal axis is also passing through O, but this axis is passing through O and it is not passing through F. So the lines are the chords which all are passing through. Not only this is also another axis. So here so many axes are there like this. How many axes? There will be infinite number of axes will be there for the ellipse. So axis is nothing but the line about which the curve is symmetrical. So if you observe, if I draw a line here, this portion will be symmetrical about this. These two are symmetrical with reference to this axis. This area will be the same. Or if you consider a line which is perpendicular to it, which is a perpendicular, which will consider from here to here, the distance will be the same as this to here. Means the total curve is symmetrical about this particular line. That's why this symmetrical line is going to be considered as an axis. So if you observe here, so many axes are there. Among these, one axis is having largest in its length. So the largest axis is considered as major axis. So here what it is, largest axis is considered as major axis. Similarly, so this particular major axis fortunately coincides with principal axis. It is going to coincide with principal axis. That's why this axis where it meets the ellipse is considered as vertices. Is it clear? Now, so among these axes, so many are they? The axis which is having the least distance, least length is considered as minor axis. So largest axis is considered as major axis, least axis length, whichever is having, it is considered as minor axis. Minor axis. So I hope you got the idea now why they are considered as major and minor axes, because among the axes, which one is going to be largest in its length, it is called major axis. The element which is having least length is considered as minor axis. So the major axis where it meets the conics or ellipse is considered as vertices, but the minor axis, the least axis, wherever it is going to meets the conics is considered as co-vertex, CV1, CV2. So this is considered as vertices, this will be considered as co-vertex, contemporary vertex, opposite. So the wherever we are considered vertices, they are having they are going to be far from each other. So co-vertices are very close to each other. That is the thing you have to remember here. Okay, sir, the terminology wise it is okay. But apart from these two, what about the remaining axes are called? Remaining axes are called auxiliary axes. Remaining, apart from these two, remaining axis is called auxiliary axes. Remaining are called auxiliary axis. Good. So here major and minor axis are called principal axis. Major and minor axis are called principal axes, and remaining are called auxiliary axes. So now when we are going to use oblong method, what is a oblong method? Is a single one, or it is having different methods are there, different methods means different names are there. We have to know it. So whenever in the problem least and largest axes like major and minor axes are given, whenever major and minor axes are given, we are going to use rectangular method of rectangle method. That particular oblong method whatever we are using is considered as rectangle method. Now when we are going to use auxiliary axes are given, here also two things are there. So auxiliary axis whose angle is not equal to 90, let us consider this is one auxiliary axis, so this is another auxiliary axis, this is another auxiliary axis. So if you observe here, this particular angle is not equal to 90 degrees. Whenever the auxiliary axes are given and their angle between those axes are not equal to 90, then we are going to use parallelogram method. So one is rectangle method. What is the other one method is rectangle method. What is the another method? Parallelogram method. Parallelogram method. When can we use parallelogram method? If they give auxiliary axes, which are not perpendicular to each other, then we are going to use parallelogram method. We can able to use parallelogram method. This is important, my dear friends, because all the people know how to construct the ellipse by using different methods. Either it is a rectangle method or parallelogram method or arcs of circle method and concentric circle method. But when we are going to use which method and what is the exact method, what is the perfect method to be used? So if I know major and minor axes, I can able to construct by using rectangle method or arcs of circle method and concentric circle method. But among these, which is most appropriate ones among them? So I will explain that after completing all these procedures, you can able to get a better idea when we have to apply which method. Okay, good. So auxiliary axes are given, we can able to apply these. So what is the second situation, sir? When we can able to use parallelogram method, that is, let us consider 3 points are given. 3 points on the curve are given, like this is 1 point, this is A. This is another point which is B. And one more point is C. If these 3 are given and if the point C is not equidistant from A and B, then we can able to apply parallelogram law. So what it is, I will write down this information also in the statement. I will write here. When 3 points on ellipse are given, and what is the condition? Note on this condition: if one among them is not equidistant from other two, then we can able to apply. Sir, how? If 3 points are given, how we can able to say that it is going to be parallelogram law? Very simple, my dear friends. The indirect meaning is whichever the length. So normally they will give 3 lengths. One is AB length they will give, BC length and CA length they will give. So here if you observe, this is going to be the AB length. So remember one thing, normally AB whatever it is given, it is not here, it is going to be here. This is AB length. So definitely that is going to be considered as auxiliary axis. Now among these, whichever is having maximum, that will be considered as axis. And what about C, sir? Once if the given values, will A as center, will draw the arc, B as center with the another length, will cut the arc. Wherever it meet, it is C. So here these two are the other two distances, AC and BC. Now sir, C is given. What is the meaning of it? So indirectly they are given another axis, that is this. This is the another axis. In this case also it is not equal to 90 degrees. So in the previous case they will give the angle. So in this case the lengths of the axes will be given and angle will be given. So in the first case, lengths of the two axes, first axis length they will give and second axis length they will give. Along with them the angle between them also they will give. These three information they will give. But in the second case, one is 3 points are given, means they will give the different lengths. Instead of giving the angles, they give the points. With respect to those points, we can able to get the ellipse by using parallelogram method. So apart from this, in oblong method we have to learn one more. That is, once if you are using parallelogram method, how to find major and minor axes, major and minor axis for that particular ellipse, whatever you draw by using parallelogram method. So all these information we will learn in the coming video. If you understand this, then you can able to know when you can able to apply which method. Okay, in the next video I will explain how to construct an ellipse by using rectangle method, and another one is by using parallelogram method.